You can look at a vibrating microscopic cell, a 3-ton predator patrolling the ocean, and ancient forests towering hundreds of feet in the air, and struggle to see the connection. Earth is filled with a staggering, almost overwhelming diversity of physical life. How did a cooling rock, once covered in nothing but dead chemical pools, actually manage to produce millions of intricately connected species? Charles Darwin proposed the answer by mapping the mechanics of evolution. Evolution is the lengthy process of biological change and divergence from ancient ape-like ancestors over millions of years. Looking closely at how this process actually works strips away the comforting intuition of a magical guiding hand. It replaces the illusion of design with a strict set of cold, fascinating mechanics. It is easy to look at an animal like a giraffe and assume its ancestors tried to adapt. We imagine them stretching their necks day after day to reach higher leaves, slowly passing that hard-earned length down to their offspring. That assumes an organism can intentionally alter its own blueprint. In reality, biological change requires absolutely zero conscious effort, purpose, or forward planning by the animal. Because organisms cannot desire their way into new physical traits, we are left with a completely blind process. It is driven entirely by mathematical chance, colliding with ruthless environmental pressure. The engine driving that chance operates at the microscopic scale. Every time a cell divides, it has to perfectly copy billions of letters of biological code in its DNA. When that copying mechanism makes a mistake, the result is a genetic mutation. A genetic mutation is simply a random change, typo, or error occurring during the massive DNA copying process. The vast majority of these typos do absolutely nothing. Some break critical cellular functions and are immediately fatal, but a very rare fraction happens to alter the code in a way that builds a physically useful new trait. This biological engine of change is entirely random. The DNA does not know if its host animal lives in a freezing climate or a desert, and it does not know what traits the animal will need to survive there. Unchecked, these random code errors would result in total biological chaos. While mutations provide the essential raw material for biological diversity, they require a strict sorting mechanism to shape them. That sorting mechanism scales up from the microscopic world to the physical environment. It is the harsh reality of trying to survive in the wild. Biologists call this mechanism natural selection. Natural selection is the process by which organisms that are better adapted to their specific environment survive long enough to pass on their genetic traits. Imagine an isolated island populated by birds with thin beaks. By pure chance, a genetic typo causes one single bird to hatch with a slightly thicker beak. Then, a severe drought strikes the island. The soft fruits die off, leaving only hard, difficult-to-crack seeds behind as a food source. The normal birds cannot eat, so they starve and die off, but the bird with the thicker beak effortlessly crushes the hard seeds, survives the drought, and reproduces, passing its specific typo forward to the next generation. Nature didn't purposefully design the thicker beak to solve the drought. The environment simply filtered out and destroyed all the alternative designs. A slightly thicker beak is just a minor physical adjustment. On its own, it doesn't quite explain how entirely separate, highly complex species form. To bridge that gap, evolution relies on deep time. Deep time is the vast, multi-million-year geological timescale of Earth's history, which acts as the ultimate mathematical multiplier. Take those tiny, filtered genetic changes and multiply them across millions of generations. As animals are forced to adapt to shifting continents and freezing ice ages, the microscopic modifications accumulate until the organism is completely unrecognizable. Deep time is the crucial ingredient. It converts invisible genetic errors into the macro-level, planetary diversity we find scattered throughout the fossil record. If you follow this continuous, mechanical chain of mutations and adaptations backward, reversing through millions of years of history, the branches of life begin to converge on a single point. All of these branches trace back to LUCA, or the last universal common ancestor. LUCA is the single, ancient microscopic cell from which all currently living things on Earth are descended. That initial cell divided and split, branching continuously over eons, to gradually form the distinct domains of plants, marine life, and mammals. Because of this unbroken chain of genetic typos, human beings share physical DNA with every single living organism on the planet. We emerged directly from the Earth, shaped by billions of years of unfeeling mechanics and ruthless survival.